Hello, my name is Rhiannon Garrett, and I will be discussing the Deepwater Horizon oil spill disaster, otherwise known as the BP oil spill. The Deepwater Horizon was a British Petroleum offshore drilling rig that was located at the Macondo Prospect Well, which was situated about 40 miles off the coast of Louisiana. On April 20th, 2010, workers were in the process of temporarily capping the well when, due to a combination of structural failures, high-pressured natural gas escaped up the pipe and shot to the surface, causing the rig to explode. Crude oil began to spew into the ocean at an alarming rate, beginning the largest marine oil spill in the world and the worst environmental disaster in United States history. BP's initial attempts to cap the well failed, as did further attempts by the United States government and environmental agencies. The size and severity of the disaster made stopping the flow of oil extremely challenging. 87 days after the explosion, on August 3, 2010, the well was finally capped. By this point, 210 million gallons of oil had been released into the Gulf of Mexico. This map shows the extent of the surface spill from May 8th to August 7th, 2010. Cleanup was a difficult process as it was ongoing in nature and because of the sheer volume of oil in the Gulf. Booms are temporary flotation barriers that were used to contain the spill for easier removal. Other methods included skimming, controlled burns, and chemical dispersants, which are surfactants that break down oil into smaller droplets. Dispersants were a controversial method as they are potentially toxic, and it was unknown what long-term damage they could cause. Despite the extensive cleanup effort, not all of the oil was removed from the Gulf. The oil budget shows a breakdown of how much was cleaned up and the methods used, as well as how much residual oil remained. It is estimated that 26% of the oil was not recovered and is likely still in the water or became sediment on the ocean floor. This disaster had an extensive environmental impact, contaminating more than 1,100 miles of coastline, at least 1,200 square miles of the deep ocean floor, and 68,000 square miles of surface water. The spill devastated wildlife in the Gulf. Despite extensive studies by many agencies, there is uncertainty about the total number of animals that were killed or affected by the incident. Estimates include the loss of approximately 8.3 million oysters, the death of 800,000 to 1 million birds, and up to 5,000 marine mammals. A federal study estimates the death of between 2 and 5 trillion larval fish and in between 56,000 and 167,000 sea turtles and 35,000 sea turtle hatchlings. The habitat destruction caused by the spill was extensive. Shallow water sediments were contaminated with oil, as were at least 10 square miles of seagrasses. At least 600 miles of sand beach habitats were affected, as well as marshes and mangrove habitats. There was extensive damage to 2 shallow water and 3 deep sea coral communities and damage to bank habitats, also known as sand domes, which are marine habitats rich in biodiversity and home to crabs, lobsters, shrimp, and seaweed. This is a map of one of the coral habitats on the sea floor that displays increased sediment levels due to the spill. In response to the disaster, Congress passed the 2012 Restore Act. There has been continued cleanup of the Gulf and remediation and recovery efforts to restore habitat to the previous conditions, including habitat management, shoreline protection, and riverbank restoration. BP has paid nearly $70 billion in fines as a result of this disaster. Much of the money was allocated to cleanup efforts and restoration projects and programs. While the cleanup was largely successful, the restoration is an ongoing process and long-term consequences are still unknown. Thank you.